There's a particular kind of silence that only old houses know, not the peaceful kind, not the quiet of a Sunday morning. I mean the other kind, the hollow kind, the kind that echoes when you walk through a room and realize no one is coming back to fill it. I am 75 years old, and I live in that silence. It wasn't always this way. In 1974, I married the most quietly beautiful woman I had ever met. Her name was Margaret, Maggie. On the day we moved into our first apartment, 2 rooms, 1 window, a radiator that clanked all night, she looked around at those bare walls and said, "This is perfect." I thought she was just being gracious. Now I know she meant it. She could make anything feel like home. We didn't have much, but we had a kitchen table where we ate together every night. We talked, we laughed, we argued about nothing. Those were the best years, not because they were easy, but because we were present. I didn't know then that what we had was the most valuable thing we would ever own. Then I got promoted. And something shifted in me. At work, people listened when I spoke. Decisions were made because I made them. And slowly, so slowly I didn't even notice, I started bringing that man home, the man who was always right. The first real fight I remember, Maggie wanted to move closer to her mother who was getting older and needed help. It made complete sense. I said no. End of discussion. She looked at me for a long moment, and then she nodded. I thought I had won, but there is no winning in a marriage. There is only choosing. Do you want to be right or do you want to be close? I chose to be right every single time. And eventually, Maggie stopped arguing. Not because I had convinced her, but because she was tired. And a tired silence is the most dangerous thing that can live inside a house. The kitchen was the first place I noticed it. In the early years, it was the heart of our home. Maggie humming while she cooked, me at the counter, both of us talking about everything and nothing. The kitchen smelled like warmth and belonging. But as the years passed and the silence grew, she stopped humming. I stopped saying thank you. We still sat at the same table, but we each had our own newspaper. We still shared a house, but we had stopped sharing a life. Our daughter Claire, about 9 years old at the time, walked into the kitchen one evening, looked at the 2 of us and said, "Mom, it just used to feel warmer in here." She went back to her room. Maggie and I didn't look at each other because we both knew exactly what she meant. The children grew up and left, as children do. And suddenly it was just Maggie and me in the big house we had spent 20 years working toward. 3 bedrooms, a proper garden, everything we had dreamed of. We had everything, and we had nothing to say to each other. We watched television in the same room, but on different chairs, as far apart as the furniture allowed. The house was immaculate, surfaces clean, everything in its place. From the outside, it looked like the home of 2 people who had their life together, but inside, it was a museum, beautiful, preserved, and completely empty of life. Then in 2018, Maggie was diagnosed with Parkinson's. I remember sitting in that doctor's office and feeling the floor shift beneath me, not because of the work ahead, but because I looked at my wife of 43 years and realized I had wasted her. I'd been given this remarkable, patient woman, and I had spent decades making her smaller, making her quieter. That night, I sat next to her on the sofa, not across from her, next to her, and I took her hand. I said, "Maggie, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for all the years I spent being right instead of being yours." She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I know, Robert, I know." And she leaned her head on my shoulder. We had 4 more years together after that, and those 4 years were better than the 40 before them. But 4 years is not enough. 4 years cannot fill the silence of 40. Maggie passed 2 years ago. I still live in this house. Her handwriting is still on a recipe card, taped to the kitchen cabinet. I have never taken it down. And I sit at that same kitchen table, the table where we spent 40 years not really talking, and I think about all the moments I let pride walk in front of love. I'd mistaken ego for dignity my entire life, And now, at 75, I sit amidst the wreckage of a life built on pride instead of presence. A house is just walls. A home is what happens between people who choose, every single day, to let their guard down, to say I'm sorry, to actually ask how you're feeling and mean it. I know that now. I know it at 75, and I know it too late. If there is someone in your life, and there is a silence between you that has been growing for too long, please don't wait until you are 75. Don't wait for the doctor's office. Don't wait for the funeral. Go to them tonight. Sit next to them and say the thing you have been too proud to say, because pride can build walls strong enough to last a lifetime. But it cannot build a home, and a home, a real one, is the only thing worth having.